Okay guys, a little catch-up video on the TFS High ports. They don't look much different than last time you've seen them. I equalized the bowls. I did a little bit of work on the chambers, but I wasn't going to go nuts on the chambers. As a matter of fact, I forgot to do the threads on that spark plug. I machined out threads on a bunch of them because no sense in having those. You know, that could be our point of detonation like we had on the AFR Enforcers. Okay, the exhaust really hasn't changed. I opened up the throat a tiny bit on the exhaust. Throat hasn't changed on the intake, not until I get the guides and stuff put in. I had to put oil on them because they flashed rust really bad last night. I don't know why. I don't remember. I don't think it rained or anything, and I don't remember it being extra humid or anything, but they got a lot of rust. I mean, you can look in that bowl. It's got a lot of rust for one night. And, I don't know. All right. I did a quickie flow test. Here, this is where we were last time. This is where we are. I did add a back cut. Some of the things I wrote up here is I did a little work to the short side radius according to the speeds that I saw. Right? So I did put a little bit of an angle on the short side radius. I laid it back a little bit, but I put a back cut on as well. So we got minus, minus, plus, 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 up until 600 thousandths and she drops out. Now you got to remember, I'm doing this with a clay radius. As soon as you start coming around 300 CFM with a clay radius, it's tough to make it stick. It was a real pain getting these last couple numbers here. Okay, take a look at the exhaust. The exhaust got a little bit of a chamber cut, and I think I took out the tiniest little ridge. But I don't want to change anything because these may wind up getting the seats taken out. I'm not sure. So I wasn't going to waste too much time on them. The valve is completely stock 1.6 with a 45. All right, minus, 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 plus, 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 all the way down. Getting there. I didn't even bother putting a pipe on it because my pipe is too small, so I have to get a bigger pipe and take a look at that. I did find out something that was really cool. Let me pause this and I'll show you guys. Okay, and you see that repair? Oh, I thought it was interesting because both heads have the same repair. And I'm like, that's really interesting. What would cause that one, to crack or something in that spot? Well, it's not for a crack. There were mission legal heads. So it actually had exhaust coming from one of those ports. And because these were obviously used for drag racing, they filled that with nickel rod. So that's interesting. Pretty cool, actually. And all right, it's absolutely horrendously hot after doing some flow tests. That's another thing. Those flow tests that we just did, the garage was nearly 100 degrees when we were done. That's just insane because of the way the sun hits the garage door that I'm not done insulating. The late afternoons are just absolutely brutal in here because I can't run the flow bench with the garage door open. But you can see some work I did on the short side radius. The speeds on the short side are these. I actually take a quick look at that. I didn't have. My wife is actually upstate with Sophia because she's 16, but she's going away to college in another couple of weeks. So I didn't have a single flow sheet. I grabbed the old Sportsman 2s. I don't remember what cut this was, but if you take a quick look, it gives you an idea of the Chevy versus the Ford, right? As far as the intake flow, pretty close. And the the Chevy had a 2.125 intake valve. Okay, we're at a 202 with the Ford. So in reality, the Ford intake is doing better with a smaller valve. But take a look at the exhaust. The Chevy exhaust just dominates. Just dominates. But take a look. Now these numbers are for the Ford. These numbers are for the Ford. And these numbers are for the Ford. Take a look how much the speed changed from here. Actually, that was relatively low. So it went down, 12 there. Went down 15 there. Stayed almost exactly the same on tight turn. And as far as exhaust numbers, these exhaust versus everything on the right, the center, and the right are Ford numbers. Look at the bottom of the Ford. The Ford port needs serious work. Not good. Nothing happening on the floor at all. So I'm thinking that these the short side radius on the exhaust, let's take a look at that. Alright, that short side radius is nice and rounded right now. Right, the roof is relatively flat all the way back. I think we're going to have to flatten that that short side radius for a little bit better line of sight. At least try one of them, see what we got. Because not happy with these exhausts at all. I mean, yeah, I could probably raise the roof some more in the middle of that port. You know what I think I'm going to wind up doing with these after they get the guides in? I'm going to take the head and I'm going to reverse it on the bench so I can stick my pitot in there, and I could really get some air speeds throughout that whole port. Have the air blowing, out instead of towards the back of the bench. That's what I do on problem exhaust ports. Alright guys, short one tonight. Hot as can be. They need a lot of work. They need a lot of work. As they sit right now, they're nowhere near where I thought they would be already. So I know, seats and guides and valve job is going to help tremendously. But I'm really hoping to get these around 330, 340 CFM, and that exhaust really should be closer to 300 than 200 because it's massive for a port that only flows 200 CFM. Alright guys, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you hanging out with me because, as you know, don't have much of a life. Thanks a lot. Bye.